Thank you, and good morning, Minister and all our colleagues here and members of the media. In terms of the time frames, it was indicated that the cabinet will be sitting later this month on the 26th to make final approval of the MTDP. But then again, from yesterday's pronouncements in the State of the Nation address, the work starts to make final refinements to the MTDP documents, key documents, including the results framework which will be used to measure success of the implementation of MTDP. The results framework on its own, it articulates what we'll call the key interventions. It gives outcomes target, in other words, what we want to achieve as South Africa on the 3 strategic objectives that have been set. It also gives you the targets and indicators that are translated to say what can be achieved at the end of 5 years, and somewhere in midway, at midpoint, we call them midway targets, midterm targets rather, and then what is going to be achieved at the end of the period. So there are mechanisms that have been put in place within that results framework, hardwired in the different clusters, the 5 clusters of government, and also the provincial plans, because there must be coherence throughout the system. Under each intervention, there is time frames that will be articulated in the annual performance plans of departments, breaking down what would have been the midterm and end-term targets. DPME's role will be to receive quarterly reports from all the implementing institutions, which it will use to monitor that implementation is actually taking place. What is new in that is that there's going to be a lot more transparency in terms of how implementation is tracked, but also the focus on the results. In this way, we mean that achievement of targets must be tracked, but also the people must feel that we are moving forward. That's very important. And the other aspect which is very important is that how we connect government work or activities with the communities affected. So that will be achieved by specialization or geolocation of key interventions, so that when we report, we are able to say in such and such a project which is in such and such location, this is what is actually happening. That is also very important. So that ties into the whole aspects of planning, including the time frames associated with each of these targets. The other aspect is that the use of what we call high-frequency data on critical areas. For example, what we have learned from Energy Action Plan, that you have to have data churned in all the time to track that things are actually happening on the ground, and then we are on the way towards achieving results. So that is what is going to be translated into other critical areas that have been identified. For example, water, that's a big area where there is Operation Vulindlela space of intervention. And then on a biannual basis, DPME prepares a report of the whole of government, which it shares with Cabinet, to say this is the progress that is being made, and identify on things that are not actually happening, appropriate interventions or escalation methodology, escalation processes for making sure that those things actually happen. And at the end of each financial year, each year, DPME will also produce a development indicators report which then tracks the whole outcome in relation to the 2030 targets. Thank you.